Do you ever open up your pantry or your freezer and you're just staring there and you're like, I have no idea what to make? It's full of food. I just have no idea what I'm making. Well, reverse meal planning is all about using what you already have. But the hardest part is getting creative with what you have. And you know what? Not every time do you have that creative moment. So we're going to trick you into being creative. And that's why the 4 easy ways that I'm about to show you can really get you out of your meal planning rut and start making it a little bit more fun while keeping up with the budget friendly meals without overthinking it. So let's get into these 4 tips because trust me, these are going to change the game. The first trick is going to be trying new twists on favorites. You may have noticed that in my meal plans and a lot of my recipes, I take very familiar flavors, but we try to twist them and change them into something new because I already know that my family likes that flavor. So let's try it in a different way. This could be as simple as serving chili in different ways. This could be instead of doing it just in a bowl with some cheese on top, let's serve it over noodles. Let's serve it over rice. Heck, let's serve it over toast or a baked potato. So I'm still keeping the chili, I'm just serving it in a slightly different way. Last week we did sloppy Joe pizza. I know my family loves the sloppy Joe flavor. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the sloppy part. So instead of doing it as a sandwich, we did it as a pizza. But if you still want it as a sandwich, you could easily, instead of doing a hamburger bun, you could do a loaf of French bread. You could use the frozen garlic bread. So we're just going to make some small twists on things we already know that we like. So we're going to get creative, but not that creative. Sometimes the easiest way to be creative is just to get a little bit out of your comfort zone. So that can mean trying new sauces or new spices, or even better, if you have a stocked spice cabinet or a drawer full of spices, go in there and look at the very, very back, the far back corner that you haven't touched in months. Try to start using up some of those sauces or those spices that you just haven't used recently. That'll give you kind of like a new spin on something. And this is stuff that I would use on like potatoes or on rice or on pasta, just to give it a little something, something. Try using sauces in ways that you haven't used them before. We recently got, it was a salad dressing. It was like a roasted red pepper. And honestly, it was just too strong to use as a salad dressing. So instead, we didn't want to waste it. We didn't want to throw it away. We used it as a marinade for chicken. And that way, that overpowering strongness that was too much for a salad was just the right amount to give flavor to that chicken and marinate it. So I want you to look at those sauces and those spices that you already have. Just kind of flip their lid a little bit and try them in a new way. Tip number 3 is we need to learn substitutions. And especially right now with things like egg prices being crazy, honestly, I'm not willing to pay $6 a dozen for eggs. That is just way too far from my comfort zone. I would rather use items I already have that I can use instead of eggs. For instance, when we are doing a breading recipe, instead of dunking it in whisked up eggs, I'm going to use mayonnaise, use mustard. Both of those, once you bread, you can't even taste the mayonnaise. Actually, the mayonnaise does add a little extra juiciness in there, but you definitely can't taste the mustard because once it cooks, that flavor's kind of gone. So now those 2 items I already had on hand. They're actually much cheaper to buy than if I had to go buy eggs. And I'm still getting the exact same result. I'm just twisting it a little bit and using items that are easier to buy because I don't know about you, I can't afford $6 a week for eggs. That's just way too much. Now, you can do this with other things besides eggs as well. Just have a look. If you want to do a recipe, think outside the box. It's easy to do a Google search. What can I swap for this? We've done a lot of things like all the different things you can use instead of breadcrumbs. For instance, you could use any crackers. So say your kids really liked a cracker and then now it's kind of gotten stale because they're not really liking it, crunch up those crackers and that can now be used instead of breadcrumbs. Same thing with some cereals like corn flakes, any kind of one that doesn't have like sugar added to it. I've even breaded chicken with goldfish. Obviously, you got to smash it up first, but you know what? There's so many options here. You just kind of have to push it just a little bit and think to myself, what do I have that's close enough to what I need? Now, when it comes to saving money on food, the absolute easiest way to do is not throw it out. Yeah, just don't have food waste. It is estimated that for every 4 bags of groceries you buy at the grocery store, one of those bags is going to end up in the trash. Now, that may seem crazy. How can you throw out 25% of the groceries that you bought? That's just silly. Nobody would do that. That's a lot of money. But that's what we do all the time. We just do it a little bit at a time and we don't realize how much it is. So we can do that by, if you don't like leftovers, cooking less. We can reinvent those leftovers into something else. I like to do that one personally. So when I'm going to store up all the leftover food from tonight, I would separate it out to where I have a container just of the rice, just of the meat, just of the vegetable. And then I can then take those ingredients and put them into something else. So at the end of the week, when I clean out my fridge, I want as little as possible going in that trash can because those are wasted opportunities that cost me money. So even if you just do like a leftover dinner at the end of the week, get a little, crazy with your leftovers. I personally love to have a couple, what I call leftover buster recipes. That's things like on Saturday mornings, we usually do like a 1 pot scrambled egg where we throw in any leftover small pieces of meat or vegetables. You can do a pizza with leftovers. You can do rice bowls with leftovers. There's so many options. But my goal every week is to make sure I am throwing as little as possible in that trash can. And just like that, I hope that I've sparked a few little light bulb moments to make it to where meal planning doesn't have to feel like a chore. So, with these 4 simple little tricks, you can start getting creative even on those days where inspiration is so far from being found. So, let me know down below, which of these tips are you going to try first? And just let me know how you're going to do it in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that way you can get more easy meal planning tips. Remember, we're in the middle of a series specifically about reverse meal planning. So if this is the phase that you're in, definitely stick around. I will see you on the next one.